Welcome back into CBS Sports HQ, just a handful of days away from the college football playoff getting underway this Friday. Notre Dame taking on Indiana. If you didn't know this about HQ, we love rankings. So Tom Fornelli has decided to rank the quarterbacks in the college football playoff. But Jacqueline, here's where it's a little bit different about the NFL. Normally, if you power rank the quarterbacks that were going to go into the playoffs, it would sort of reflect the teams that were the favorites to win. Not necessarily the case in college football. Dylan Gabriel coming in at number 1. Yes, Oregon is favored to win the Natty, but after that, things get a little interesting. So let's welcome in sometimes our good friend Tom Fornelli to talk about his rankings here. Why is Dylan Gabriel coming in at number 1 for you ahead of everyone else?
I just think that if you look at the situation, first of all the quarterbacks that are in the college football playoff, Dylan Gabriel was the only one in New York last week as a Heisman finalist. And I think it's somewhat of a reflection of how different this season has been overall compared to recent years where we have seen, number 1 QBs, guys who will be first-round picks, if not the first pick in the draft, leading teams to the postseason. That really hasn't been the case this year. But Dylan Gabriel has been statistically an excellent quarterback for Oregon. He got off to a slow start after transferring there from Oklahoma. But as that team has gotten healthier, and as he has become more and more familiar with the offense, they have become somewhat unstoppable, both on the ground and through the air. As the season has gone along, we have seen Dylan Gabriel using his legs more and more, which adds another element to this Oregon offense that makes it really difficult to stop. So at the end of the day, he's a Heisman finalist, and he's the starting quarterback of the only undefeated team in the country and the number 1 seed in the playoffs. So it seemed fitting he'd earn the number 1 seed in the power rankings, too.
Your number 2 seed is a guy we're going to see play this Friday, Curtis Rourke with Indiana. And you point out in your article, by the way, people can find it on CBSSports.com, that he's kind of been overlooked this season and heading into the postseason.
Yeah, it's somewhat strange because when we think of Indiana this year, they've been one of the biggest surprises in college football. They are the Cinderella, the big story, the team nobody expected to be here. But it gets kind of lost that Curtis Rourke is primarily the reason why. Like, Curt Cignetti has gotten a ton of attention. He brought a lot of good players in from his old job at James Madison in the transfer portal. But no transfer he brought in has been more impactful than Curtis Rourke, who, if you look at him statistically, he's at the top of the country in just about every single stat category you care about when it comes to quarterbacks. He doesn't make mistakes. He's making all the plays when they need him. And when they do need a big play, who's the guy they turn to? It's Curtis Rourke, and he's delivering them. So if Indiana is going to make a run in this playoff, it's going to be because Curtis Rourke takes him there.
One other guy we want to talk about, Texas's Quinn Yates, because he is just inside the top 10, coming in at number 9. Texas has the second best favorites to go ahead and win the national championship. But here we find Quinn Yates. You had a little caveat in your article, though, about Quinn Yates, and it was this is based on how he's playing right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, earlier in the year when I was doing my quarterback power rankings, Quinn was the number 1 quarterback in the country, deservedly so. It's just a lot has changed from earlier this season. Quinn Ewers, I am estimating, if we're gauging his health, is 70% at best. He missed games earlier this season because of an oblique injury, and oblique injuries don't heal. They need time and rest to heal, and he has not had any rest. So he's playing through that. You add an ankle injury on top of it that he suffered in the Kentucky game, and he just looks banged up. And I give him credit for gutting it out and going out there trying to make these plays and help lead his team to a national title. But it is really impacting Texas in the red zone, where he has lost some zip on his ball because of that oblique injury. It's really hard to reach back and put a little extra juice on your throw. So the windows where they're tighter down in the red zone, a lot of those throws, he's unable to make them. And Texas's run game has been a problem all season. So when the field gets shorter, he has not been able to deliver. They've had to settle for far too many field goal attempts. And as we saw in the SEC championship, they're not making all the field goals either. It cost him an SEC title and a bye. So I think at his ceiling, Quinn Ewers could be the best quarterback in the country. But he's so far from his ceiling right now, it's harder to rank him higher than he is.
This is starting quarterbacks 1 through 12. If you had Arch Manning in there, would he be in the top 12?
I think he would be in there. I mean, I would probably put him in the same place I've got Quinn, just because, while I think Arch Manning is extremely talented, and I think that he is going to be very good for Texas. When he is their starting quarterback next year, Texas is going to be really good. It's just, I need to see it before I can really put him in there. I mean, that's why I have Georgia's Gunnar Stockton at 12. We just haven't seen it. Kirby Smart loves him. That staff loves him. They believe in him, and they think they can win games with him. But me, I haven't seen him yet. I'm not ranking him any higher than he is until I do. So I'd probably approach the same way with Arch.
Tom, Cover 3 podcasts. We found out finally the question you've been asking on social media. Are you a robe guy? How did it go? Give us a little promo for the Cover 3 podcast.
If you would like to see me with my chest hanging out, watch the Cover 3 podcast on YouTube where I wear a robe. And it was extremely hot and sweaty, so, that robe got a little more open as the show went on.
Ooh, what a tease. Scandalous. That's a tease. Tune in. You can watch him on YouTube, or if you don't want to stare at that, but it is enticing, you can listen.
Yeah, there's always the audio-only option.